Hello, everybody. We're about to start the webinar, and my name is Jose Levy, and I am a director for the East Region for EPM Live. I've been with the company for almost 5 years, and today's topic is portfolio management for 2013 planning, keeping it basic. We hope to share with you some of our insights on portfolio planning and some of our capabilities from our platform. Real quickly, for those of you that have not been exposed to us before, here's a quick introduction into EPM Live. Currently have greater than 5,000 customers. We have been recognized by Gartner in their Magic Quadrant for SaaS solutions. Also, we're a Microsoft partner, have won several awards over a number of years, and also associated with PMI. In terms of our services, we are a full-service organization that offers a PPM platform, both in a SaaS and in-house model. So depending on what your needs are, we can accommodate that. And one of our virtues is that we have pre-built solutions that minimize the level of configuration that you have to do, so we can get you out using the application and generating value very quickly. You see here some of our customers. They range from small IT shops with 30 users to large enterprise organizations with thousands of users. And again, it just depends on what process and we're addressing through our platform. For those of you that are not aware, we are now part of the Power Steering software company, and we're very pleased to be part of this organization now, given the level of breadth and depth that now we have with our solutions. Just want to highlight that because with our joining the Power Steering team, we have a full breadth of solutions. Our platform expands even further into other capabilities, and as an organization, we're much bigger now in terms of our resources and our ability to meet your needs in the PPM, work management, and professional service automation timesheet capabilities. We have a large set of enterprise customers, managed enterprise customers. So again, we can take care of large organizations, small organizations. Depends on what your specific needs are. So again, for those of you that haven't been exposed to EPM Live, we are a PPM platform that allows you to manage different scenarios for portfolio management, project management, work management. We sit on top of SharePoint, which is a common enterprise content management platform within organizations. And the way we have architected our solution is by managing different work entities, that being applications, programs, projects, portfolios. Those work entities are enabled by a feature set that deals with specific usability around workflows, schedule management, resource management, cost management. And you can apply those features to any of the work entities that you see below. In our latest release, what we've done is extend it into a platform that provides or gives you the ability to manage multiple processes and scenarios through solution apps. So if you go to our site, you'll see prominently that we have apps for different scenarios such as new product development, service management, project management, portfolio management. And they're available, most of them are available for free. So if you subscribe to our solution or license it, you have the ability to download and install those applications within the EPM Live solution. One last part, because we're on SharePoint and we've developed integration capabilities, you have the ability to connect to your financial HR systems as well as common Microsoft Office tools for enabling greater collaboration. And finally, I'll just close by showing that really our business is about providing a platform that is flexible and gives you the ability to start at whatever level you want based on your readiness, based on your speed to market for your solution. We have apps for simple task management all the way through having a new product development application. As I stated, our offering is SaaS as well as hosted on-premise. Our services can range from do-it-yourself support engagement all the way through custom deployments, very large custom deployments or custom configuration. We have an EPM Live University, but we also offer on our knowledge sites training videos. All of our training materials are available for consumption by all of your users. And our support has a 24-hour help desk as well as Premier Success, which includes post-implementation dedicated support if you need it. So let's get to the topic at hand, which is the basic elements of PPM as you plan for 2013. And what I want to go through here is give you a quick rundown of where we see when we go into organizations the most common elements will make a project portfolio management process. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use this governance lifecycle of create, select, plan, manage, which really ties top-down and bottom-up demand management and project execution. As you see, everything on the right-hand side has to do with generating demand. So at this point, through your planning cycle and your budgeting cycle, you have probably already captured ideas for 2013, all different types of requests. The create step or phase, as I'll talk in a second, really is about getting all that work that is going to be performed and then aligning it to strategy, doing further analysis in terms of estimating cost and resource demand, and doing risk analysis and forecasting benefits, because we're going to execute projects to get some benefit for the organization. The next step is selection, and really that's where you use all that input to do analysis on your demand and enabling a dialogue with leadership on which are the projects that should be completed. And really there's tools that you should have within your process to facilitate that discussion. Once you get to the left-hand side, now we're talking about more execution. This is more of your standard project management where you have an assigned project manager or project coordinator or lead that's going through and further elaborating the high-level plans that were put together on selection. And here we're talking about resource assignments at an individual portfolio item level. Manage is really about tracking and statusing, and it's really cyclical because we need to status the portfolio items as we go into our portfolio rebalancing every quarter or every month. It really depends on your process and how you've defined it. But these are 4 essential elements for any portfolio management process. If we further break that down, I want to highlight, the PPM governance lifecycle, and really what this is, it's something that identifies that you have a portfolio management process because you have defined life cycle phases or stage gates. And you have 3 examples here, 3 graphics of who using the create, select, plan, manage, and then there's even a sustain one in the second one that I show. Below there's one that's driven more by scoping, accepting, execute, control, and close. Really doesn't matter how you name them. Really what we're talking about is having a set of defined activities for each phase that have deliverables. There's things that have to be completed in order to move one portfolio item from one stage to the next. It could be called constraints also in order to move them from one stage to the next. A common element of a PPM governance lifecycle is that you're going to have stage gate approvers. So there's individual stakeholders within the organization that are going to have authority to look at the completion of those activities and see if the portfolio item can move from the create stage to the select stage. And typically you'll have a governance workflow, so there's rules set for defining how an item moves from one stage to the next, who are the individuals that are going to be involved in that, and typically you will have a governance workflow tool to automate that decision-making process in order to avoid, just having emails going back and forth and not a lot of clarity on the decision-making process. The next common element is really having a work request process where you have a form typically, and this starts in organizations with an Excel template or a project initiation Word document where you're going to describe what the project request is all about. This could have different types of work could be included in your demand management step. It could be products, capabilities, requirements. It's a matter of what your organization needs are all about. And at this point, really the end goal is to have a complete project request. So we sometimes hear the name business case. And how complete does it need to be to get to the next step? So it could be that you start with general descriptions and alignment data and then metadata for the initiative, and then finance gets involved after that activity has been approved, and then finance puts in the budget or approves the budget. So it could be more involved depending on how you have your organization lined up. But at the end of the day, the project request has to be complete and approved in order to move to the next stage. Part of this will involve defining resources, and here I'm talking about people. So which are the resource types or individuals that you're going to need? What are, it could be generic resources, in other words, the resource types in order to complete an initiative, or it could be named team members. Depends how you set up your rules. Within this graphic, I show one generic that's still in what we call negotiated commitment mode, and which means that a resource manager has to come in and do a match for it and find someone that has availability. You see in the bottom part of the grid in order to complete the time for that role. And what you want to do if you want to be effective about portfolio management and resource management is really define that resource plan for each portfolio item so that you have a clear picture of all the demand that you're going to require for your portfolio for the coming year in this scenario. If you want to get more involved, you can also do your full budgeting. So you can use those resource plans and bring that data in and also do your full budget for the portfolio item. And here the idea is to take your budget structure and reflect it in a template so that you can reuse it. I also show that at the bottom we also want to track benefits, and this is a common element that's overlooked. We want to do benefit attainment tracking, post closing of the project. So it's important to define that up front, and then monitor actuals as you after you close the portfolio item. So you've done all your inputs, then comes selection and prioritization, which is really what is the output of all that analysis, and can we have scoring of portfolio items based on the different criteria that I have within my my project request form, my business case, and can I facilitate that go, kill, hold decision on the portfolio item and all the portfolio items within the portfolio. So after having given you the basics, these are some of the common pitfalls that we see in the marketplace when we talk to different organizations. So the first thing you want to watch out for is making sure that you have project categorization or work categorization clear within your process. So are we talking about service requests, enhancements, projects? And we see that in some cases they're all treated the same, and they should not be. There's different. There could be different decision-making process for all of them, different time allocations that you're going to have. So there's lack of clarity in terms of all the different work types. The project requests or work request forms are sometimes incomplete. In other words, there's not enough data in order to facilitate that selection and prioritization discussion. So you need to make sure that you make that project request complete. There could be a disconnect between the top down and the bottom up. So very good project execution, not so good statusing of the portfolio, or very good portfolio data that's disconnected with the project execution because the statusing of the project isn't occurring as frequently or as completely. And finally, we assume that there are stakeholders in the organization that have approved your PPM process, and then you have some PPM governance defined. So as part of this, you need to make sure that every key stakeholder is participating and leadership is driving down the buy-in in order for everyone to have a common vision on the outputs from PPM. So your call to action in this section of the presentation is really to self-assess your PPM basic elements. Can you map the list of projects to the objectives for next year? I mean, we looked at your projects right now. Can we actually say that they're strategically aligned? Did we capture all the critical projects for all the key stakeholders? Did everybody participate in your requests for work? Was there a process for taking every one of those elements and putting them through your governance? In other words, do we have full and complete project request forms and business cases that we can evaluate? And the right people approved, those finance involved and resource managers involved in looking at the entire portfolio. What's the completeness of the project request form? Do we have enough criteria to make a decision on all the projects? With respect to resource estimates, can we go into every one of your resource in the portfolio items and look at the resource plans for every one of those items? And do you understand the under-over allocations? I think this is probably the biggest pain that we hear from prospects and customers. And do we have a decision dashboard? Can you actually show to your leadership team the scoring of all the projects, and is there enough data points for them to actually select and prioritize? And finally, one that's currently, I think it's overlooked. Once the selection and prioritization has occurred, you have to inform the rest of the organization what actually got selected. So, that has to do with portfolio governance and collaboration. And again, it's a common element that you need to have taken into consideration. So what we have built is EPM Live is an integrated PPM platform, and what that means is that with our project portfolio management application and our other side apps, will give you the ability to enable that process. And you see that it's really supporting the enterprise work capabilities that your organization needs to have. And if you want to integrate other systems, again, such as our related software companies, Power Steering, Penrocks, Timesheet.com, Visual Studio, or any other financial system, you can do so into the platform. So you can take parts of that process and also operate in other applications if you want, and then have it all be integrated into EPM Live. When I talked about categorizing work, this is really what I was addressing. The ability to take anything that comes in as work into the organization, which we will define as demand, having the ability to classify it into different portfolios and different sets of approvers and different teams even that might be doing that work, and having it all within one platform integrated so that you can analyze overall resource demand, work demand, execute it, and then report on it through our reporting solution within the platform. So what I'd like to do is just give you a quick overview the features that we have to support the process, we'll go into a quick demonstration, and then we'll close with some takeaways. So we talked about domain management, and really here is providing a facility for capturing all different types of work requests. And again, it could be incidents, projects, application work, and then having routing occur to the appropriate team so that work is assigned to those team members. Alignment, we mentioned alignment is one of the key components of having a PPM process, and really is within your project request forms, having the ability to demonstrate how every one of those portfolio items maps to your strategic objectives or criteria. You need to have the ability to have updates occur. So this is where the portfolio statusing comes by having the bottom-up data be within dashboards and views and reports. And if need be, have the ability to do constraint analysis because of budget constraints, resource constraints. It's fairly common for portfolio rebalancing to occur monthly or quarterly because of budget shortfalls, and you need to have tools in order to come up with that decision, which projects are going to go killed or hold. I mentioned governance and workflow, and most portfolio management tools have a workflow engine and ability to do approvals, and our platform leverages SharePoint capabilities and also other workflow tools. It just depends how sophisticated you want your workflow. We have the ability to build that into the tool for the different steps. And really what we're driving for is consistency of approvals and involvement of all stakeholders. In terms of financial management, and this is one of the strengths of our tool, where you have the ability to put your budget for any portfolio item and then also track the actual spend. Summarize all that for all of your portfolio items, and then see how you're doing from an overall budget standpoint. All of that data could also be integrated into a financial system, or in reverse, if you want to bring actual cost data from a financial system, you can bring it into EPM Live in order to have that comparison for your leadership team. Resource management, as I mentioned, this is one of the strengths of our tool, and is really the ability to analyze and assign resources based on skill, availability. Since you're doing resource plans for each portfolio item, we also have the ability to bring in any scheduled work and compare it against original resource plans, even take that forecast that you've scheduled and make it the official resource plan for the portfolio item. So you can take the project manager forecast and make it the portfolio item resource plan. So schedule management, another strength from our tool. Here you have the ability to use Microsoft Project or our online project planner, which is a lightweight scheduling capability. You can plan progressively through the life cycle of the portfolio item. Eventually get to a full work breakdown structure if needed once you're in plan and manage, and have the project manager or project lead or update the project schedule in order to provide statusing of the portfolio item. And in the event that you need to use Agile, we have an Agile planner as part of our solution for those organizations that want to manage a backlog and plan releases in that fashion. So one of our strengths is also work management, and really that's the ability to look at all of the work that's been assigned to an individual. And here we consider anything that any anything that a team member has to dedicate time to as work. That could include resolving an issue, a backlog item, a service request, and understanding what the impact is of managing all that work and availability of that resource. So from a resource manager standpoint and a team member standpoint, a nice set of tools for seeing all the work that's been assigned to an individual, and even proposing resequencing of that work in order to undo over allocations and priorities, missed priorities on the work for the individual. So finally, one of our strengths is the what-if modeling capabilities for resource cost and portfolio management. So here you see a number of initiatives have been selected, and our modeler capability, where you actually have a heat map that shows from a budget standpoint, in this case, where you are over or under for a target scenario. And the tool gives you the ability to select, deselect portfolio items, move and resequence portfolio items in order to get to an optimal cost scenario that meets the objective, the budget objective that you've defined. And the same can be done for resources. So it's cost and resource what-if modeling. Finally, everything has to be in dashboards for decision making. So we have a reporting solution that we provide and gives you the ability to create your own reports, as well as use the large set of reports that we have out of the box. We have 3 different reporting capabilities that we provide: views, out of the box reporting services reports, and an Excel reporting solution where you can create your own reports in Excel. And with those 3, we have the ability to meet any need that comes up in terms of reporting. Dashboards can be created right on screen. You're seeing a sample of one, as well as customize any of the existing reports to your requirements. All right, so what I'd like to do is just show you a couple of feature flashes of what we discussed, and highlight how we align to portfolio management. Okay, so everybody should be seeing the My Workplace for Steve Masters, who in this is our demonstration user. And in this case, for time's sake and purposes of the demo, I'm going to do all my actions through Steve. Normally, we could go in as different types of users and show how the interface and the landing pages change based on what your role is. But again, for time's sake, I'm just going to use Steve Masters. You're looking at Steve Masters' My Workplace, and the reason I started here is in this configuration we have a project request list and form within this community. And without going into too much detail in communities, there are targeted audience pages where specific roles can have access to an application and a specific navigation. So in this case, we have the My Workplace that usually a team member, all team members will have, and you can see the navigation here where I can actually see my work, timesheets, my time off or defining my time off, any to-dos that I have defined. And I started here because I want to start with project requests. And it's just a simple, very simple list for defining requests. And I have here 2 approved requests that were done early, but I can also see within the view all project requests that have been generated, some that are waiting for approval and some that have been approved. What I want to highlight here is that for any request that has been defined, we have the ability to enable a workflow for approval. And I've already done it for these 2 that I recently created. So just wanted to show that the request form should have all of the data that you want as part of the project request. And again, this is a very simple example. If we were in a real-life scenario, this would have a lot more information and a lot more data. But you see here that the approval decision as part of the workflow is showing, and so are, the ability to leave comments, edit the item, and so on. From here, what I want to do, since these 2 are approved, I'm going to go to the main portfolio management application, which is in the projects community. So we have within the projects community the main portfolio application, and this is a landing page. And again, this is Steve Masters, who is a project manager and PMO member. And sure enough, after having the items approved, they appear within proposed projects. So the request was put in. It was filtered first by an approver, and now it's part of the proposed project that needs to be further evaluated. By the way, a request could have been created also from the Create New. So just wanted to show the My Workplace community, but here you see that within project request, Steve Masters or anybody that has permissions to create a request would have seen it within the Create New Item, and all the other actions that a user can do. So from a simplicity standpoint, it could be as easily as just going to Create New. But here you see the navigation for the portfolio application. So my work for the project that I have, again, I can see a list of my tasks. We manage portfolios, so if you want to do multiple portfolio management, you can do that. I'll jump there real quick before going to the project list. And these are all of the portfolios that Steve Masters has access to. And if you wanted to see all the projects for all the portfolios, you can have a portfolio dashboard like this one, where, again, these are the portfolio lists, and you can see here that product innovation is the highest in terms of its planned benefit or budget, with all the other portfolios showing their relative values. Prioritization scores versus planned benefits for all the projects that have been registered, and we see here deployment of IT governance with high budget or high prioritization score and relatively low planned benefit. If we go to the top, you can see the Xbox DVD doesn't have as high of a prioritization score, but has a much higher planned benefit. And below, again, I mentioned that we have the ability to combine our charting web part in this case, which if you wanted to change it, you could, all the way down, and or combine it with roll-up views and lists in order to give you a dashboard of all your projects, in this case, grouped by proposed or active and by project types. So let's go to projects real quick. Because what I want to show is, as part of your basic PPM that I was showing, I showed you request list and the ability to capture requests and provide that interface to users to come in and list them. Once you have the approval take place, this is where completing the business case comes in. And I'm going to open the supply chain project, which is one of the new ones that we approved. And you can see here that now we're talking about completing the business case. So in this case, the supply chain. So it's about reducing expenses. This is metadata within your business case that you can tailor to your specific needs. So all these fields can be changed to what you're looking for from your current set that you might be managing. Here you define your stakeholders. Here's the stage gate owner. So here is one of the basic elements of PPM, where you actually have an approver of the current phase that we're in, and in order to be able to move the item from one life cycle stage to the next. So you see my life cycle stages here. We're currently in create because this item, again, was just initiated, got it filtered and approved to go into the proposed list. But as Steve Masters, as this project moves forward, Steve Masters can come in and receive a workflow notification to come in and check whether everything's been completed in order to move the item from one stage to the next. So there's a workflow that's enabled here in order to allow that. If I wanted to, I could define my portfolio dates right here. And we'll leave the actuals open because we'll have a schedule later that will feed that. You can have manual or calculated KPIs. So in this case, we have a work health KPI that's manual, and I'm just going to put it on track because we just started. Again, I could start with putting in single line items for project work. Later, as I elaborate through a resource plan or through a schedule that can be updated, we give you the ability to actually have a schedule update the portfolio item, or workspace data, which is optional, or just you manage it top down from the portfolio side itself, so you can leave it manual. And then finally, we have some business drivers, decision criteria here that has some scoring behind it. So there's weights that are assigned to these, and I'm going to make this the perfect project and give it a high score, and we'll leave the decision criteria open. So again, this is one of the elements that we talk about basic PPM. Is your project request complete enough? And what we've done within our template is give you that capability. You have life cycle, you have a governance life cycle, you have stage gate ownership, you have decision criteria through scoring, and you have the ability to tie it to scheduled work that we will define as we move along. See if I've done this, everything that I need here. And I'm going to go ahead and move this forward into plan because this is just a quick demonstration. Okay, so what are the additional elements? We talked about resource plans and cost plans in part of PPM. I'm just going to take a project here that's already completed so you see how that actually occurs. And you see that I have my grid of resources with their availability showing below. If I needed to work with like I said earlier, start with a generic resource and add the generic resource to the project, I could. The whole intent here is to be able to estimate the time that I'm going to need from resources. And you can go through a process of having a requester define the role, and then having a resource manager or someone with the authority come in and match and find out who's available to perform that work. So in this case, I just match to a business analyst, and I get the availability of all the business analysts that we have within our team. And I could, again, I'm going through several steps in our governance process here, but just for purposes of the demonstration, you see that I've actually matched to the resource. And again, because Steve Masters is very powerful within the system, once I save this, this is going to convert to an active commitment. So the negotiation process here is very quick. Typically, there will be notifications going to the project manager and resource manager to actually come in and fulfill the requirement. So this is a resource plan. And then the second one that I want to do, as I hurry through, is our cost plan. And here the budget structure has already been defined. This is a project that's already in execution, but I think what's most important is the ability to put in actuals and also to track benefits. And even if you wanted to bring in timesheet actuals, which our solution includes. So this is our cost planning template, and the ability to go through and plan and track costs as needed. So the next step is, before actually going and making a decision, what I'm going to do is take all my active projects and supply chain, and actually we'll take strategic merger and evaluation as a proposed project. And you see at the top ribbon where, by the way, I could have done the same actions. You see that I have associated items, so anything that I want to assign to a specific portfolio item I can add. But to the right here, you see the analysis tools. And this is where we actually can, in the case of resource management, I can see all the resource plans for all the portfolio items that I'm deciding, both the in-flight and this strategic merger evaluation, which is the one that was proposed, and you see that we have resource time, and see where the over allocations are through the heat map on the bottom. So these, on the bottom grid, what we're seeing are all the resources that were defined as part of the projects that I selected in my project summary at the top. You could have selected a specific portfolio. You could have selected even one project. And what you're seeing here is, again, the summary total resource plan for each of the selected projects. So what can we do with our resource analyzer? Well, the first thing we could do is take a summary resource plan and move it over to another month to see if what kind of impact that has on our resources. You see that I have undo also, which means that that action I can move it back. The whole idea is to try to work to level the team that I have on these resources. And surely enough, I can only move it to one line. This strategic merger evaluation, I might have to actually do it earlier. Can I do it earlier? And we see that Ed Meadows is a resource that's in trouble. I do have the ability to go into my views and group by resource in order to see exactly what it is that Ed is working on, and can I actually impact any of those projects. Here's Ed, and when I open it up, I see that he's got Active Directory, Surface, and the Xbox DVD for September, so perhaps my Surface tablet can wait in his allocation, and I can clear his schedule until next year. And that way, help Ed through completion of this year. Now, if you wanted to affect that change into the resource plan, you can publish directly, and that will actually show. You see that we have other tools here for showing timesheet actual, schedule work in the actual project plans. So there's a lot of capability here. We don't have time to go through all of it, but if you also wanted to include other metadata in order to facilitate your decision making, your priority or state, you can do that also. So we give you the ability to include that within your analysis. Priority, for instance. So if we have priority, we can include it within and put it right next to our decision criteria in order to know which projects we're going to be able to move, resequence, which ones have the highest priority. Similarly, we can compare cost if we have a target, budget, and actuals. And you see here that I have all the items with their cost, so it seems like we're doing okay in terms of our budgets and actuals, and we can create views to actually show that comparison. In terms of modeling, I'll just show the modeling of cost and scenario in this case. And I'll go ahead and make these quarters. And so we have all the projects that I selected. I have below the summary budget cost plan. I'm going to apply a target to it in order to see whether I'm in line with the budget that I originally defined for the entire portfolio. And you can see here that we have some cost categories that are, we're exceeding. So what you could do at this point, the very first thing you could do is, well, if I obviously don't do the project, can I come in line in terms of my budget? That gets a little better. Now, that's not always an option. So what you can do is reselect, and the second option is, can we resequence these into a time frame that is more workable? And that kind of also that supports our budget. I could try to extend also the timeline and level spread the costs and see if that helps. Or I could create a new target. So if you want to, in this case, seek additional funding, you could, and then take that as your accepted scenario. So we could create an additional target if we wanted to, and then resolve our budget issue. So have a few more minutes left here, and what I want to do is show that within the portfolio site, you have the ability to create views and dashboards. In this case, it's the executive summary. All my proposed projects. Here's my supply chain that you saw. And from here, in a portfolio scenario, what we would want to do is get into a decision dashboard type of situation where we're providing management with the data. So again, one of the components of PPM that I talked about is having the ability to show the scores. Or if you recall, I made my project the perfect project because my decision criteria here was the highest ranked. I didn't fill in the planned benefit for cost, so that's why I don't have planned benefit ROI. But what we want to be able to do is to group items by life cycle stage and then provide the ability for management to use the scores, the planned benefit, the ROI, and then make the decision whether to include, reject, or hold. So this can be very powerful, and again, it's pretty straightforward what we're doing here. You could have additional views, additional project data for statusing, having the projects that are actually in manage be status and bring that data back up so that you can decide again whether any of these projects need to be put on hold. So here's one that we might want to consider. A business strategy workshop has a prioritization score of 40, a planned benefit 80, and a negative ROI. We need those resources for another project. Let's just put it on hold for now. Once you save these items, they become part of the execution portfolio, and the rest of the organization can actually see that output. Okay, so that's all the essential PPM steps that I wanted to show today. We can go into a lot more detail, and I encourage you to give us a call, and if you're interested in seeing more of these capabilities. I did not go through the full reporting capabilities, but you see here that we have our report list with all the reports that are available, and available to also customize. And here's a reporting list. You can see that we have timesheet reports with a timesheet capability, all of our canned reports, project budget by type, by priority. I'll hit on the bubble chart since it's very relevant to our PPM scenario, planning for 2013. And you see here that I'm including the life cycle stages, all life cycle stages, but I just could focus on those that are ready to be considered. And here we see that Xbox DVD continues to, among those that are going to be considered in this planning cycle, has a nice plan benefit and a nice prioritization score. All the different criteria that you can use as part of the this particular bubble chart you see here: prioritization score, budget, and then life cycle stage. All right, so I'd like to finish by just highlighting the benefits of using EPM Live for portfolio management. First of all, there's no need to have separate expensive applications. It's all within one platform. If you happen to have SharePoint, you're going to be increasing your value because you're making SharePoint feature complete by having portfolio management features within the actual enterprise content management solution. This is a very important one. Since you are using SharePoint and a platform, you're going to be able to extend to all of your users as needed for a specific process. So that's a very, very big benefit because you're driving collaboration, driving inclusion of all stakeholders and team members into the process. And if you happen to have single applications, you can integrate all of them within this platform, which will help you reduce your cost. And again, just some closing statements on why EPM Live, all work one platform. We have pre-built out templates depending on what you want to implement, multiple support offerings. We can cover any level of readiness for your organization, and then the power to choose how you want to implement, whether you want to go fast, slow, broad, or narrow. We encourage you to give us a trial, take advantage of our trial and try our solution within our website, EPM Live. There's several places where you can register for a trial and get a site, and contact us for further assistance with your trials. And we provide our contact info here. So with that, I will close today's webinar. Hopefully you've been able to obtain some insight into essential components of project portfolio management and some of the capabilities that we offer to enable your process. Again, feel free to reach out to us for a trial or evaluation of our platform. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon in the next webinar. Thanks a lot.